Thanks for being here. I'm Megs from Move Like Water Collective, sharing with you guys a calisthenics-based workout, a bit more lower body focused. But we're going to spend some time to wake up the foot muscles and start to get some movement in the fascia of the feet. We have to understand that these guys here are, of course, the furthest away from our heart pump and our hands. Meaning that if we're not diaphragmatic breathing or we're shallow breathing all the time and chest breathing or mouth breathing, it means that we're not going to get blood flow and oxygen out to the cells for the cells to be able to release toxic waste through carbon dioxide. Our feet can kind of be like these really hard rocks down here, especially if we're wearing shoes all the time that are especially pointed at the toe, that squish your toes in and are elevated on a ramp. That is going to cause a massive tightness and a whole lot of tension in the foot, meaning that the fascia in the feet become quite calcified. There is a buildup of collagen and we develop adhesions in our feet and especially our calves, meaning that that is going to pull our whole body in and forward. And when we're looking at the foot is wide at the top, spread and splayed. We should be able to have massive space between our toes. But what happens is when the arch of the foot here starts to collapse, again, most shoes have an arch in them, not allowing the foot muscles to flex and extend. What you're going to notice is we're going to start to move into pronation, meaning that the angle is going to start to shift. Now, if I was a building or a tower or a vehicle, right, if my tire started to go flat, so to speak, or if the foundation wasn't properly set, it means that everything else upstream is going to be tilting inwards or on some kind of misalignment. So it's so important when we go through these movements and any of the yoga or calisthenics program or anything that you do, not just what I share with you, that we make sure that we're really using the tripod of the foot so that the knee is in alignment with the ankle joint. The knee is a hinge joint, right? So if the muscles in the feet start to collapse, meaning we start to get this degree off of our medial rotation. This is going to start to wear away not only the tissues of the knee joint and cause, inflammation, swelling, things that are relating to knee pain and further on, of course, on the way to surgery. But what you'll also notice is that, of course, that's going to affect your hip joint, which is also going to affect your spine. So if I stand in a neutral position and I have the tripod of the foot on the ground here, you'll see that my knees are in alignment, my hip flexors are actually open here, right? And the area in my lower back is not too compromised. I actually have space because my feet are in the correct alignment position. If they start to fall inwards, and this is what I see so much in my own clients and in the world around us, not only is the knee joint, the patella folding inwards, but look at the hip bones as they fall forward and down. Now, when we add in things like sitting and using devices and things like that too, we are then encouraging this whole forward posture, right? So to fix that, we tend to overextend into the knee, so that hyperextension, and then we get this crunching into the lower back. Now, for many of us, we're also sitting in chairs, meaning that our quads and our hamstrings and our psoas muscles are constantly compressed, and that is also going to create these adhesions in the fascia in and around the joints and the areas that don't get a lot of blood flow. It's all about alignment with our bodies, and when we come back to alignment, right, as in get out of our chairs and off our devices and also out of shoes, the body can then start to breathe properly and receive blood flow. So breathing is a huge part of it, and adapting that diaphragmatic breath to all of your practices, unless you are being chased by a tiger, and even in what we're going to do today. But we're also going to really start to wake up the feet first before we go into the movement patterns today. So I'm going to invite you to get 2 Jenga blocks. If you don't have Jenga blocks, then you can sort of use or balance on anything that is a little bit uneven. So a yoga block could also be perfect here. Now with the Jenga blocks, as I said, we're just doing some foot strengthening exercises here to wake up the foot before we go into our calisthenics workout today. Once again, if this resonates with you or you get something out of it, I would love if you could please like the video and subscribe. I now have a full online subscription service over on my new website, which is movelikewatercollective.com.au, and you can find not only videos like this, but also yoga, yin, fascia release, breath techniques as in diaphragmatic breathing and how to understand how to properly breathe so we receive that oxygenated blood towards our cells. But I also share videos on nervous system regulation. So I would love for you to go check out over there. Everything is on sale at the moment until the end of Jan. And you can purchase an online program, an online immersion, or be part of my signature 3-month Shift Your Self-Talk program that starts in February 2026. For now, we're going to grab 2 Jenga blocks and we are going to start to wake up those muscles in the feet. We want to place it on the heel and the ball of our foot, and we want to spread and splay our toes. All right, so place them on the flat side and we start to bring ourselves onto the Jenga blocks here. And I'm just going, this floor is really not so great for it because it's moving around a fair bit, but in saying that, it's also great to challenge the balance. I'm going to keep the toes really spread and splayed and keep the quadricep on. So that means I need to bend my standing knee. And all we're doing today is not only waking up those foot muscles by placing the blocks on the areas of the feet, again, to actually break into that fascia, but we're also allowing that floating hip, which is my left, to just move and to get a little blood flow into the hip. I'm going to hold here, try to nasal belly breathe for the next 15 seconds. So a really slow, steady breath here, in through the nose and out through the nose. Beautiful, guys. Ooh, we're going to keep with the same foot here. And what we're going to do with those Jenga blocks is we're going to try to turn them up. Spread the toes over the top of it and picking it up here, putting it in your hand. We're now going to hold it in our hand and balance and pop it back down into the ground, right? So I don't mind which block you use, but we're just trying to now flex the muscles of the feet, pick the block up, internal or external hip rotation, your choice, and then a single leg squat to place it back down onto the ground. So now we're getting that kind of flexion extension of the foot muscles underneath the feet here to really squeeze and flex so that the muscles are now starting to strengthen, and this is your base and this is what's most important. We'll go one more here and we should be feeling a little bit of heat, not just into the feet, but I'm really feeling it into my glutes. All right, and then placing that block back down onto the ground. We're going to do the same thing, of course, onto the other side. So we're making a little bit of it's like a Japanese slipper here. Heel, ball of the foot, spread the toes. And we're just trying to balance here. So I'm keeping my standing knee bent and I'm doing my best to relax my upper body, and how I'm doing that is with my breathing. Notice the parts of you that really want to like compress, as in we want to like tighten up. We're trying to really look for any areas of tension and let it go on our exhale. 10 more seconds here. Definitely feeling that in my feet, and keep the blocks where they are. Using the opposite foot, of course, to stand on. We're picking it up with those left toes now, and we're just going to take the time again to do exactly what we did before, spreading the toes over, internal or external hip rotation, place the block back down into the ground, and then we're picking it up again. We're looking for about 4 or 5 goes here, but if you have never done this before, you're going to find it really difficult to pick up the block. And you can do the same thing with a pair of socks or a tea towel or a cloth. But I guarantee you, with a bit of practice, and I do share this a lot in my foot, knee and hip health course, that the toes are meant to move like our fingers. It's just because we squish them in shoes that they don't move very well, and we end up with bunions, cross toes, and really unstable structures. So it's a nice bit of warm up there for the glutes, the hips and the feet. Hopefully that has given you some activation before we go into these movement patterns. Before we start, I want you to find this really nice grounding pattern in your feet. As in, I'm pushing down about 60% in the heel and 40% into both of the balls of the feet here. Right, you'll notice that I'm not rolling inwards and I'm not moving laterally. If I find that point of the tripod of the foot here, you'll see here that the rest of my body aligns in according to that. Anatomically, our hands are actually open, but the reason they cave inwards is because of the world we're in, and we're holding everything forward and pulling the whole body forward. right? What we're finding, of course, is with the fascia, again, it's like the structural system of the body. When we start to fall forward, it starts to tighten in areas such as our lower back, our glutes, all down that posterior chain to kind of pull us back up. And hence why so many of us are suffering and struggling from back pain, tight glutes and tight hips, because the nature of our world, again, stress, tension, fear, or poor quality thoughts will actually pull us forward. And of course, the nature of what we do using phones, devices, and chairs also brings the body here. So these adhesions that develop, right, actually cause the body to like lock up into these areas. And it's no wonder so much, or many of us, are suffering chronic back pain, right? So we have to understand it is literally like a building, and it comes from right here. So when we're moving through our patterns, you'll see that I'm still working the tripod of the foot when I squat, right? I'm not allowing myself to fall inwards. I'm lifting the arch of my feet. My toes are spread and splayed, and my knees are tracking over my toes. The same thing goes if I come into any single leg squatting. You'll still see that alignment. I'm still in the tripod of my foot. And it's really important that if we're coming into like a kneeling squat, when we're coming up here, we've really got to focus on what it feels like to push away from the floor so we don't do this and put the knee in danger. So I want you to really pay attention to that when we're moving through these 4 calisthenics patterns today. You will sweat. We're going to go for 40 seconds on and 20 seconds off. And the focus today, just really feel what your feet are doing through the movements. All right, so with that, we are going to get started. Our first one is a step down lunge into a cat position, right? So when we're coming into the position, we're going to go in about 10 seconds. All we're needing to do is come down to the shin, back to squat, down to the shin, and then we're going to a cat position. All right, looks like this. Let's go. We've got 40 seconds of time on. Again, focus is the foot position. Hands come down, come into a hovered tabletop or cat, and then back up to a squat position. Shin down to the ground, back to squat, shin down to the ground, hands down, hovered cat, and back up. Again from the front, I'm making sure that I'm really keeping that knee in alignment. Hands down, cat position, back up. 10 more seconds here, and then we've got our second movement. So it's pretty much just copy and follow along. Our next one will be our crawling pattern, okay? So we got down on the hands then to wake up through the wrists. We're now going to just be going our cat crawl for now for the first round, and then I'll give some layers when we come into rounds 2 and 3. All right, our next one will be a full cat crawl position, nice and slow. Fingers spread nice and wide, tuck the tailbone under, and it's a contralateral, just forward and back. We really want to stabilize through the core, so as in pulling your belly button up and in towards your backbone. Your arms are spread really nice and long. You're pushing the floor away and moving really, really slow. Visualizing if you had something on your back, that is not going anywhere. Final 8 seconds. And rest. Beautiful, 2 more patterns to go. So just 20 seconds rest and 40 seconds worth of work. All right, our next one, we're gonna go into our like Cossack variation, which I really love. We're gonna add a hip hinge to this one. So we're gonna start in this bent knee position, maintain the tripod of the foot, picking up the opposite foot, reaching across, and we slide. Bending the right knee, you're gonna tuck your left leg behind, finding a dragon squat, and then into a hinge movement. Up to balance if you can, stepping across and sliding, really making sure you're landing that tripod of the foot, and then into a hinge-based movement. So nice and slow here, getting into the groins, the hip flexors, and of course the hamstrings. And of course I'll give you some variations to spice this up in rounds 2 and 3. All right, keep it going, guys. 10 more seconds here. Use your hands on the ground. We can make that dragon squat a little deeper in the next couple of rounds if you like. Whew, shaking it out. We have one more to go, which is going to work a little bit of power into the legs, which will be our bunny hops. Now I'll show a version here, which you'll do with alternate feet. And then in rounds 2 and 3, we can go to double. Fingers spread nice and wide. Come into a bear position. Option 1, jump one leg and then the other and land. Come back to bear. You can alternate legs. And just get a feel for floating and using compression by pushing the floor away. Again, really just getting a sense for this movement. You can even step it and then squat. Your legs should be getting a little bit fiery by this point. 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Straight away, diaphragmatic breathing. Hands onto the abdomen, just where, I'm short of breath myself, just where the diaphragm hits the abdomen. And we're going to inhale through the nose, feel the belly push forward. Exhale through the nose, feel the belly soften. Inhale through the nose, belly pushes forwards. And exhale through the nose and the belly softens. Inhale through the nose, belly pushes forwards. And exhale through the nose and the belly softens. We are going to do that whole set again. So when we're working through, it's just 4 movements, 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off. I'll give you some variations, or you're very welcome to stay with that first level or layer that we just did. All right, we have our step down lunge to cat. Intention here is to get a little lower if you can. So working towards getting that shin to the ground. Some of you might even come a little bit closer to like a shrimp squat if you like. All right, time is on. 2 squats, hands down, into cat, and back up. And again, just having a bit of a play around with what works for you. Again, intention is not to move fast. And as I said, if that shrimp squat is there, feel free to adapt into that space. Five seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stay close to the ground. All right, we've got our crawling. So this time we can cat crawl with the opportunity to flip it into a crab. If you're unfamiliar with that transition, just stay with your cat crawl for today. All right, moving around the space as much as you can, rounding through your spine, and we slowly start to move with the option to flip it into your crab walk. And once again, as you're doing this, don't rush the transitions. Keep the arms really, really nice and straight, and really think about what your breathing is doing through this space. Notice what, again, is happening within your belly. Make sure you're not collapsing into the lower back. Keep breathing. Be curious about the spaces here. 10 more seconds. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great job. All right, our next one. All right, we're going our wide lunge, dragon to our hip hinge, which can lead into a handstand hop for anyone who feels curious to go there. All right, getting down really nice and low. Keep the knee bent. We're going to step that leg all the way across. Bend into the knee, tuck it behind, your version of a dragon squat. And maybe the hands come down and you take a little handstand hop. So stepping across, bend the knee, tuck it behind dragon, your version. Hands down, maybe you take a little hop if that feels nice for you. Slide it across, tuck behind, dragon, handstand option. Come back. Step, tuck, maybe have a play, it's always fun in the living room, and rest. So we got one more of that sequence and one more round only. So when you're doing this work, move with good intention, be 100% present, get it done, don't move for a long time, just move for a good time, and always let it feel good. Our last one are our jumps, and these can get a little toasty now that we
Do both feet. Your option is to stay with the first version. If not, press the floor away, hop the feet in. Have fun with this one. We're working to create a little bit of a float. All right, you can make sure nothing's in front of you as you're working through this. Really think about pushing the floor away. Again, get low into the legs and then pulling that belly button in towards the backbone. All right, guys, 10 seconds. I discuss this a lot more in my handstand course. For anybody wishing to learn how to handstand, you can purchase that course now online too. All right, it might be nice just to lie down. Once again, focus on the breath. In through the nose. Feel the diaphragm push down and the belly rise for the count of 4. And exhale through the nose and feel the belly soften. And try to slow down that exhale. Let's go for a couple more rounds of breath here. In through the nose, belly rises. Out through the nose, let the belly fall and actually really feel that belly button pull into your spine. Again, in through the nose, belly rises. Out through the nose and the belly falls. 2 more rounds of breath before our final round of movement. Inhale. And exhale. Breathe in. And breathe out. All right, we have our final round to move through. We're going to go in 5 seconds. Again, that option, if you do know your shrimp squat, it is there for you. You can add a pistol if you want to. I'm going to stay on a shrimp today. My legs are a bit cooked. So tap down, straight down into cat and back up. Again, the pace of this is always up to you. It's up to you how much speed you want to add. Personally, I don't like going too fast. I find I get cooked enough, moving nice and slow, and really feeling the movement as opposed to rushing it. So many of us, we've spent so many years rushing our movement. That's why we end up so rigid and tight and with limitations and injuries. At least if we can feel into what we're doing, we can observe how the body is responding to the movement. Nearly there, guys. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, well done. Any crawling variations here, welcome. Feel free to add a monkey or a wallaby crawl if you feel playful. So using whatever space you have to transition and move. Again, any variations welcome. Pay attention to where you land and what's there. And again, how you move around in the space. And no right or wrong with any of this movement. Five seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. My goodness. Whew. 2 to go. 2 rounds of 40 seconds to go. All right. So we've got our really nice Cossack slide, dragon squat, and hip hinge or handstand. Give your legs a bit of a shake out, bending into the knee, off we go. Nice big Cossack slide, tripod of the foot, tuck the leg behind. Your version of dragon, hip hinge, or handstand. Come back. It's not about rushing or trying to get, however many in this time. Don't worry about that. Have a play with it being good quality. Let it be playful and let it be fun. And your body will respond so much better than that than counting how many calories you're burning, as that puts the body into a bit of a stress state because you're chasing a number. Nearly there, guys. Whew. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, we've got one more to go. So we're working through this last one. You have 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off. That's it. We're going to finish with breathing at the end. So we're coming into this last movement pattern. Follow with me.
Option is to make the jumps a little bit more energetic, as in you're welcome to go into a handstand hop if you want to for this one, or you can stay with any of those other variations. All right, so as we're coming into the position now, you're welcome to come back into that hip hinge position. And again, have a little bit of a play with lifting up, or maybe you even come back to a squat. I'll give you that option here to have a play. So any of the options I just shared are totally fine. We've got about 30 seconds to go. And if you are doing this inside, obviously making sure that not too much is around you as you're playing with the movements. Maybe you work compression on the way down. We're going to go for one more and then that's it. We're just going to breathe. So wherever you are, hold for 5, hold for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done, guys. I'm coming straight down to breathe. It's highly likely your breath is like up in and around your chest. You might be mouth breathing and you might be feeling like that shallower breath. And our job is to, as quickly as possible, bring it right back down to that diaphragmatic breath. So I am going to ask you to place your hands right where the diaphragm hits the abdomen, as in just under the rib cage, to feel the plate of muscle. And we're going to just start to slowly regulate our breathing, return our nervous system back to a sense of safety and calm. And that is going to be with an extended exhale. So as you are breathing, I want you to inhale through the nose and feel the belly push up to the ceiling for the count of 4. But as you breathe out, I want you to try to breathe out and exhale for the count of 6, but you're going to feel your belly button like pull through towards the floor and the muscles engage as the rib cage lifts and opens. We inhale 4, 3, 2, 1, and then exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, inhale 4, 3, 2, 1, and then exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to do that 2 more times. Breathing in 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one. Inhale. And exhale. Take a moment to hug your knees into the chest, roll your feet, spread your toes. Do this often. Again, it is so important that we move our feet often, especially if you are somebody who sits in chairs and wears shoes a lot, meaning that these guys are going to lack the receiving of flow because the fascia here can get really tight and our feet start to shape like shoes, pushing and compressing everything inwards, and that then of course is going to have a massive knock-on effect onto the whole rest of your body, including your hips, your spine, of course your neck and your shoulders. If you would like to know more, over on my website Move Like Water Collective, you can find 4-week self-guided courses, foot, knee and hip health, nervous system regulation tools through my workshop The Reset, but also my fascia and joint flow course. These are all available for you to practice online, self-guided in your own home to help complement every other bit of movement that you do, and more than anything, to help you move better from the inside out. Because if we are not moving and we're not releasing our fascia, if we're not breathing properly, and if we're filling our vehicle and our day with things that don't serve us, our vehicle or our body is going to reflect what is going on the inside. So I really encourage you to go check that out. I've spent a lot of work over the last couple of months putting all of this together. And of course, if you are in the Port Stephens area or Newcastle, I will be opening the doors to a movement studio from the 27th of January. Of course, lastly, if you got something out of this video, I'd love to hear from you. So comment below and let me know your thoughts. If you want more videos like this, jump on over to the website and grab my $11 a month subscription. That is movement videos, calisthenics, yoga, breathing, and also nervous system regulation tools for only $11 a month. I really appreciate you guys practicing with me today. I hope that felt good, and until next time.